Ryse, Son of Rome. Ryse, Son of Rome wasn't just a game, it was a time machine. Yet when it launched in 2013, critics dismissed it as shallow and repetitive. But what if they missed the bigger picture? Let's start with the obvious. This game was a visual masterpiece. It wasn't just good for its time, it redefined what next-gen could look like. The sweat on a soldier's brow, the fiery chaos of battlefields, Rome's grandeur dripping in gold and blood. It felt like stepping into a blockbuster film, authority. It pushed consoles to their limits. Combat, while simple, was brutal ballet. Every sword swing had weight, every shield crack echoed, and the slow-motion execution moves? Pure adrenaline. Sure, some called it repetitive. But isn't all combat repetitive? Here, it meant something. You weren't just fighting, you were surviving. Now let's talk about the hate. Critics slammed it for lacking depth. But ask anyone who actually played it, and they'll tell you about the quiet moments, the grief of a son losing his father, the loyalty of brothers in arms, the rage that fuels a hero, reciprocity. Players who stayed found a story that stuck. It wasn't Shakespeare, but it didn't need to be. It made you feel. What made Ryse great wasn't just its looks or its heart. It was boldness. At a time when games were chasing gritty realism, Ryse dared to be cinematic. It wasn't afraid to be dramatic, even theatrical. And for that, it became a cult classic. So here's the truth. Ryse wasn't perfect. But neither were the reviews. If you skipped it back then, ask yourself, do you really trust a scoreboard, or the thousands who still call this game unforgettable? Press start. See Rome through Marius' eyes. And tell me it doesn't leave a mark. Spec Ops, the line. What if everything you thought about war games was a lie? Spec Ops. The line didn't just ask that question, it forced you to live it. Released in 2012, this game looked like just another military shooter. But critics who called it generic missed the point entirely. This wasn't about saving the world. It was about surviving the nightmare you helped create. Let's get this straight. The gameplay wasn't revolutionary. You shoot, take cover, and move through dusty ruins. But that's where the familiarity ends. The real weapon here? The story. Set in a Dubai buried by sandstorms, the game strips away the hero fantasy. Every bullet fired, every choice made, chips away at your soul. Promise of transformation. This isn't a game, it's a mirror. Critics called it another forgettable shooter. But here's what they ignored. The silence between the gunfire. The way your squadmates' jokes turned to screams. The civilians staring at you like you're the monster. Most war games make you feel powerful. Spec Ops makes you feel guilty. And that's why players still talk about it years later. What made it great wasn't the explosions or the set pieces. It was the courage to ask, why do you keep playing? While other games celebrated war, Spec Ops dragged you into its moral quicksand. There are no good choices, only consequences. Scarcity. How many games dare to hurt this much? Think about the last time a game left you staring at the credits, gut punched. Spec Ops doesn't just want your attention, it wants your regret. It's not fun. It's necessary. So yes, the shooting feels average. But that's the twist. You're not supposed to enjoy it. This game isn't about winning. It's about realizing you lost the moment you pulled the trigger. Critics called it shallow. Players called it a wake-up call. Which side are you on? Watch Dogs. Here's a fact you won't forget. Chicago in this game wasn't just pixels. Developers used real city data to build it. Traffic lights, trains, security cameras. Everything could be hacked. Curiosity. What if your phone could do this tomorrow? Critics called it overpromised. But players found a playground where creativity was the ultimate weapon. Need to escape cops? Trap them in a tunnel by raising bollards. Ambush a gang? Black out the entire block. This wasn't magic. It was tech pushed to its limits. Yes, the game got crushed under its own hype. Reviewers wanted revolutionary AI, but got a world that felt alive instead. Rain dripped off neon signs, citizens lived unique lives, and secrets hid in every alley. Was it perfect? No. But name another game where you could sit on a park bench, hack a stranger's phone, and discover their darkest secrets. Let's talk about why it's loved today. The hacking wasn't just a gimmick, it was power fantasy reimagined. No superpowers, just a smartphone and a grudge. And that multiplayer? Pure chaos. Invading another player's game to hack them undetected was a thrill no scripted mission could match. Social proof. Thousands still log in daily, 7 years later. Critics said it was shallow. Fans say it's raw, messy fun. The story? Forgettable. The The vibe? Unmatched. This was cyberpunk without the neon filters, gritty, wet, and real. So here's the truth. Watch Dogs didn't fail. The reviews did. They judged it for what it wasn't, not what it was, a bold experiment that let you be the ghost in the machine. Mafia 3. This isn't just 1968, it's New Bordeaux, a city where revenge tastes sweeter than jazz. Mafia 3, 2016, didn't just drop you into the past. It made you live it. Yet critics wrote it off as grindy. But here's what they missed. This game wasn't about missions. It was about rage. Let's cut through the noise. Yes, you'll take over districts, sabotage rivals, and repeat. But so what? Scarface wasn't about the bullets. It was about the fall. Mafia 3 gets that. You play Lincoln Clay, a Vietnam vet betrayed by the mob. Every repetitive mission? A brick in the wall of his fury. Authority. The writing here? Think Sopranos meets Django Unchained. But here's the magic. The world breathes. Cars glide on tail fins, neon signs flicker in rain-soaked streets, and radios blast 60-plus real songs. Steal a car, and the dashboard cracks like your grandpa's Oldsmobile. Walk into a bar, and the bartender side-eyes you for being mixed race. This isn't open world. It's a time capsule. Critics called it tedious. Fans called it hypnotic. The soundtrack alone, Sam Cooke, Rolling Stones, Johnny Cash, does more storytelling than most games' cutscenes. And that ending? Stick with it. And the final choice hits like a betrayal from your own family. Reciprocity. The pain is the point. Let's be real. Mafia 3 isn't perfect. But neither was the 1960s. The game dares to ask, how far would you go for revenge? And makes you answer with every trigger pulled. So here's the truth. Critics saw repetition. Players saw rhythm. A drumbeat of violence that makes you feel the cost of power. If you quit early, you'll never know why this game's still worshipped. Remember me. What if you could steal someone's happiest memory, or erase your own worst one? Remember Me, 2013, asked this terrifying question. Critics called it clunky, but players discovered a game that dared to hack the human soul. Let's start with the elephant in the room. The combat wasn't perfect. Button-mashing brawls in a neon-lit Paris? Yeah, it got repetitive. But here's what reviewers missed. This isn't a game about fighting. It's about feeling. You play Neeline, a memory hunter in 2084 Neo-Paris, a city where skyscrapers claw at smoggy skies and the Eiffel Tower crumbles beside hologram ads. Scarcity. Name 3 games where you literally rewrite someone's mind. The magic. Those memory sequences. Imagine diving into a person's past like a thief. Rearrange their traumas to manipulate them. Watch a father's grief turn to rage with a few tweaks. It wasn't just gameplay. It was moral sabotage. Curiosity. What lines would you cross to change the past? Critics shrugged at the story. Big mistake. Neeline's journey, forgotten by the world, hunting her own identity, cuts deeper than any sword. The soundtrack hums with lonely synths. Streets drip with rain and regret. Even the glitches feel intentional, like memories fraying at the edges. Yes, the combat's rough. But so is life. Remember Me forces you to ask, do our worst moments define us? When you alter a villain's memory to make him repent, are you a hero or a monster? Here's the kicker. This game predicted our obsession with curated lives. Instagram filters? TikTok personas? Neo-Paris citizens sell their memories for likes. Sound familiar? So why is it still loved? Because it sticks to your ribs. Long after credits roll, you'll check your own memories twice. Was that childhood joy real? Or did someone tweak it? Bottom line, critics saw a mediocre brawler. Players found a mirror. Remember Me doesn't want you to win. It wants you to wonder, if you could rewrite your story, would you survive what you've become? Biomutant. What if you could stitch together your own mutant hero from nature's spare parts? Biomutant 2021 lets you do exactly that. Craft a raccoon with kangaroo legs, a fox with venomous spikes, or whatever chaos your brain cooks up. Critics called it unfocused. Players called it freedom. Let's cut through the noise. Yes, this game is weird. A post-apocalyptic world where animals talk, cars are made of trash, and you fight with a mix of kung fu and laser guns. But that's the point. While critics wanted polish, fans found a playground where creativity beats rules. Promise of transformation. You're not just playing a hero, you're inventing them. The hate. Reviewers said it felt scattered. But wander this world for an hour, and you'll find a tree that hums lullabies. A tribe of mice obsessed with cheese-powered mechs. A giant monster made of literal garbage. Is it focused? No. It's alive. Here's what makes Biomutant magic. You choose your chaos. Want to be a furry pacifist who talks enemies into surrendering? Go for it. Prefer to dunk on bad guys with a giant mutated plunger? Done. The game doesn't judge. It high-fives your madness. And that world. Imagine Mad Max painted by a toddler on sugar. Neon swamps, icy peaks, deserts dotted with robot parts. It's a buffet for explorers. Even the weather matters. Acid rain melts your fur unless you craft a hazmat onesie. Social proof. Over 1 million players have wasted 50-plus hours here. Critics called the humor cringy. Fans laughed at jokes like a boss battle against a giant pig, who's allergic to its own farts. Is it dumb? Absolutely. But so is life. Let's be real. Biomutant isn't perfect. Combat can feel loose. Quests repeat. But name another game where you can. Ride a giant mechanical hand. Bargain with a cult of mushroom monks. Customize your mutant's fart noise. Exactly. This game isn't about checklists. It's about joyful chaos. For every glitchy moment, there's a sunset so pink it hurts your eyes, or a secret cave full of dancing fireflies. So here's the truth. Critics wanted another cookie-cutter open world. Biomutant gave us a glitter-covered grenade. It's messy, it's glorious, and its fans. They're too busy building raccoon superheroes to care about scores. Quantum Break. Have you ever imagined having the power to control time? Quantum Break lets you do just that. This game mixes time-bending action with live-action episodes, making every moment feel like a fresh twist in a movie. Imagine playing a game that changes the way you see time, pushing the limits of what storytelling can be. Experts in gaming even praise it for doing something new and bold. In Quantum Break, you can slow down, stop, and even reverse time. This isn't just a neat trick. It changes how you fight enemies, solve puzzles, and even plan your next move. When you feel like you're in control of time itself, you realize the real power lies in the choices you make. What if you could fix your mistakes in a blink? That thought alone keeps you hooked. Yet, some critics found the live-action parts a bit off. They saw these episodes as mere fluff that interrupted the game's pace. But looking closer, you see that these moments were meant to build tension and deepen the game's world. They are not just filler. They make you wonder how every second might change the outcome of your choices. This idea gives the game an edge and a bold look into the future of storytelling. What truly sets Quantum Break apart is the mix of real-time action and cinematic storytelling. It pushed the boundaries of video game design and left a mark on the industry. Today, many gamers still talk about how it changed the rules. So, next time you play, take a moment to enjoy how every decision, every second counts. Let yourself be swept away by a game that dared to ask, what if you could truly control time? The Ascent. The Ascent throws you right into a cyberpunk universe where neon lights and high-tech chaos set the stage for a wild ride. Imagine a game that not only tests your reflexes with its twin-stick shooter controls, but also pulls you into a richly detailed world that few games dare to capture. In this game, every move matters. The shooting mechanics are crisp and satisfying, making combat feel like a well-rehearsed dance. And when you team up with a friend, the experience only gets better. Co-op play in The Ascent is more than just a mode. It's a journey where working together makes every encounter more thrilling. Just think about it. Co-op players around the globe have shared their excitement, and the sense of camaraderie in each battle is real proof of how amazing this game truly is. Some critics argued that the game was too overwhelming, pointing out the complexity of its environment and the fast-paced action. However, many players have come forward to say that the rich cyberpunk setting and the solid gameplay far outweigh any of these concerns. When you play The Ascent, you realize that its intricate design is a rare gem in today's gaming world, a scarce masterpiece in capturing the essence of cyberpunk. Take a moment to picture yourself in a world where every corner of the city buzzes with energy, and every firefight feels like a burst of adrenaline. The Ascent isn't just another shooter. It's an immersive experience built on trust, teamwork, and a setting that few can rival. So, grab a friend, jump into the neon-lit chaos, and see for yourself why so many players call it one of the most underrated gems out there. The Callisto Protocol. Imagine stepping into a nightmare on a distant moon, where every dark corner hides something deadly. The Callisto Protocol does just that, pulling you into a survival horror experience set in a gritty sci-fi world. This game has earned its place as a spiritual successor to classic horror titles, and its tough reputation comes not from imitating the past, but by creating its own brand of terror. At first glance, critics compared it harshly to games like Dead Space. They missed the point that the Callisto Protocol stands alone, crafting its own eerie atmosphere and memorable challenges. The game builds tension with every sound and shadow. Every fight is a dance of survival, where gruesome combat keeps you on edge. It's a rare treat, a game that doesn't just rely on jump scares, but draws you into a deep, immersive experience. What makes this game truly special is its ability to keep you curious. Picture this. Every step you take, every door you open, might reveal a new horror waiting just around the corner. It makes you wonder, what horrors await on Callisto? That feeling of suspense is backed by strong design and expert craftsmanship, proving that the game is more than just another survival horror title. Take a moment and feel the pulse of a place where fear meets the future. With its blend of sci-fi and survival horror, the Callisto Protocol offers a raw and intense experience that few can match. So if you're ready to face your fears and explore a world where every moment counts, dive in and see why this game is praised by fans for its unique and unforgettable take on horror. Today, we've talked about games like Quantum Break, the Ascent, and the Callisto Protocol, titles that were unfairly judged by critics who missed their true value. Each of these games brought something unique to the table. Quantum Break pushed storytelling into new territory with time-bending mechanics that let you feel like you control every moment. The Ascent delivered a stunning cyberpunk world where every neon-lit fight was more than just a battle. It was an experience. And the Callisto Protocol proved that even in a world full of comparisons, its blend of survival horror and sci-fi could stand tall as a terrifying, immersive adventure. When you give these games a try, you're not just playing. They transform the way you view storytelling and gameplay. Think of it as a small favor. Give these games a chance, and they might just become your new favorites. That simple act of reciprocity opens up a door to experiences you might have missed before. Next time you see a game getting trashed, remember this list. Sometimes, the best experiences are the ones everyone overlooks.